Abusia Ghana for ye wo what enhyehyɛ foforo Ghana ban edi eba na sa enhyehyɛ said ye tie no say aban edi enhyehyɛ ba won fa mapati ba ko say ebia me di enhyehyɛ we edi agu ekwan mu nti NDP fo nko a mumfam ana say NDC fo nko a mumfam ye nyina nim say so bi ebe ya aban a oye aban edi Ghana fu nyina na mesremo ye nkonkohwe enhyehyɛ ya Ghana ban edi bre Ghana fu nyina ene se wo ye NDC o wo ye NPP o wo ye kwankwan ni o abusuan ebe ya fetew yes na wo de ye nkonkote die egu mwen sansem yi ye ne bre ya o miskin na wo kyerɛkyerɛ ye eye new enhyehyɛ ya Ghana ban edi ba abusuan sa enhyehyɛ ye ba be ma eye Sam George communication minister abusuan ebe manu some powers be even Ghana mapani jedinye mu na mu Ghana mapani jedinye kura wonye den oni bi yes na mesramo ye nche se de ye ne bre o si e kire yi mu ne ba ye behwa de e wo ho nyina.
See, the new cybersecurity amendment bill is not a cybersecurity reform, but then it's a control reform. And if it passes, it will give just one government agency more power over your digital life than any law in Ghana. So let us go through it step by step, starting with Section 4A, which is the new powers of the Cybersecurity Authority. Now, this section gives the authority power to investigate and prosecute cybercrime, not just regulate it. That means the same institution that writes the cybersecurity rules can also decide who breaks them, investigate the case, and prosecute the person. That's 3 powers in one body. They also get to certify and regulate emerging technologies like AI, blockchain, cloud, whatever. So if you are building tech in Ghana, they can decide whether your product is secure enough to exist. I mean, that's not security. That's just a way to centralize control. And let's go to the next section, which is Section 20B, the police powers. The bill says that the Director General or the Deputy Director General and the officers of the authority will now have the same powers as police officers. So they can arrest, they can search, they can seize your property. But unlike the police service, this new cyber police won't report directly to the IGP. They will report directly to the authority under the Ministry of Communications. That's Honorable Sam George. That's new police force operating under a regulatory agency. Now let's talk about the next section, which is the Section 31, which involves the money. Now this section funds the authority with 12% of communication service tax, 9% of corporate tax, and 50% of all fines and penalties under the act. So in other words, the authority makes money when it fines and punishes people. Now this is a self-financing system. The more people they arrest or punish, the richer the institution becomes. I mean, that's direct incentive to overreach. Now the next section is Section 35 to 37, which is the critical information infrastructure. This section allows the minister to declare any system as critical. It could be your telecom company, it could be your bank, it could be your hospital, your startup, hosting business. Once it's declared critical, you must register it, pay annual fees, and give the authority access to your internal systems. That's for inspection and for auditing. Now, this will open door for the state to access private infrastructure across sectors. And refusal comes with a heavy penalty. And let's talk about the next section, which is Section 49. That involves licensing and cybersecurity services. No one can offer any cybersecurity service, even for free, without government license. That includes ethical hackers, IT consultants, even non-profit doing privacy work. So without accreditation from the authority, your works becomes illegal. And that's how they quietly kill independent oversight. The next section is Section 57 to 57C, which is cyber hygiene certification. Now, the authority will run a new cyber hygiene scheme, and they will set prices, approve who can offer certifications, and collect 30% of revenue from every certification done. So the authority that regulates you, audits you, and also can profit from you all at once. And let's talk about the next section, which is Section 59A to Section 59K. That's the enforcement powers. This is the most dangerous part of the entire bill. Now, it gives the authority nearly unlimited power. And here's how these sections say in simple English. Now, they can arrest, they can prosecute anyone who violates cybersecurity standards. They can freeze your bank accounts, property before the court even approves it. They can compel you to hand over your information, your data during an investigation, and they can get court orders in secret to access your digital data. They can enter and inspect your premises, sometimes even without a warrant. So we have full surveillance, full policing power concentrated in one agency without clear judiciary checks. And once that exists, it won't stop cybercrime. It will be used against journalists, critics, and even political opponents. That's how digital control begins, always in the name of security. Let's talk about the next section. That's section 66, 67A and 67B. That will criminalize speech. So this section introduces cyberbullying and false information clauses. They make it a crime to spread false or misleading information online with penalties up to 5 years in prison. But who decides what's false? The same authority that enforces the act. So if you criticize a government official and then they call it false, you are not a cyber criminal. That's a violation of our free speech. And let's talk about the next section, which is section 92. And this section allows the authority to issue binding orders to innovators, software engineers, service providers to secure emerging technology. So in simple terms, they can tell startups what they can build, how they can build it, or even stop them. Right? That's direct state control by innovation under the banner of cyber safety. And the next section is 94 to 94B. They have added new offenses like unlawful access, computer forgery, and computer-related fraud. Some are valid, but the language is broad, so it can easily criminalize ethical hacking or even testing your own systems. Every major authoritarian turn in modern history starts with laws like this. So they write the laws very softly. They try to make it open, or you can submit your input, and then they justify it as protection. So Nigeria said that their Cybercrime Act will protect citizens, and later on we saw it jailing journalists for criticizing governors. Now Ghana's bill gives the state the same toolkit. They can arrest, prosecute, seize, and then silence you. So if one government agency can write the rules, enforce them, and then punish you.
To say that what we are seeing appears to be a draft, and that they want to consult on that draft. From what I have seen as a former information minister, this draft is dangerous, though it's not surprising. And let me explain why it's not surprising. It's not surprising because I think the president first announced it, that they are going to use the national security apparatus to go after people who make comments on social media that they consider, for whatever reason, whether it's under hate speech or it's under whatever, they consider it unfavorable. They're going to search for your IP addresses and then get the security apparatus to go after you. The president himself said it. So it's not surprising that his minister is now following up with a draft bill with such wild provisions in there. What is dangerous about it is that over the last set of decades, various countries have been moving away from criminalizing speech. There are other remedies for speech that may be deemed unfavorable, most of them civil, but not necessarily criminalizing it. And that's why you would recall that even the Criminal Libel and Sedition Act was repealed by the Kufuor administration. There are still remnants of laws that still seek to criminalize speech. For example, this law that is being used a lot, publication of false news, with intent of causing fear and panic, is one of those laws that actually still needs to be repealed. Instead of repealing that to advance, democratic freedoms, the government is now seeking, through this draft that it wants to consult on, to enact legislation that will now even ensure that when you put up a comment in your chat groups and they find it offensive according to their criteria, you could go to jail. And I think it's a very dangerous, encroachment into the area of free speech. The government needs to tread cautiously. I'm hopeful that when the consultations start, the government will see wisdom in backtracking and ensuring that instead of rather seeking to further criminalize speech, even the remnant laws on criminalization of speech should be
First of all, the NDC should know that we did not give them to third in parliament. We did not give them absolute power to come and be passing some bill that will limit our freedom of speech online. No. Look, the cyber security amendment, the cyber whatever amendment bill that they want to go and deliberate on and pass. Look, if it is passed, you and I, our freedom of speech will be limited. Look, they will give the Ministry of Communication so much power that they can arrest, prosecute you, come to your house, confiscate your phone. Like they can basically do anything. I went through the list. It is long, so I cannot come and breaking about. When I went through the list, bro, it is not good though. I don't know who is watching me, but you guys must say no. We must speak against that cyber security amendment bill. Bro, if that is passed, do you know the power some judge you hold in Ghana? Bro, I say, like, if you say something they don't like, they can just come to your house and arrest you. They can prosecute you. Like, they can basically do what they like.
Absia permit so my understanding no me hu ni say me be say kura no office parliament for Jimmy say Sam George ye na fu ene ne hone busybody we office parliament we kwa pass Sam mara no say we no sa no na it means say literally we be even more powerful than because Ghana man penin to me using it to me say I need to me the achew me the prosecutive me the jelu me the you say Ghana man penin cranya sa or you see the necessary steps but we no sa no or no sana was starting with LGBTQ na wanti mi enwie no or person obenya tumi a show nipa any otimu say amanfo nso ti aware ho ne kire relationship mu o Ghana fo mpo and or person o kire so be hye yeso ye kasa mu na imagine so ware no ma bi say ya wo ware things like Sam Georgia abia otimu say be ye kire bibia wo busybody tambia kutu said obi a wo patanto kwa even asoja for kura enye sa kutu no na wo hwehwe tumi e dia be ye de ode be ye abia ye nyina ye wo Ghana ye twen e hwe de be ye den e besie subscribe to your channel for update na amazing aka you talk too much abia me fa wo nc ahasi ye